Does anyone else have that one memory that they like think of from time to time? They're like, what actually was going on there, and why is that a memory like in my head that I was present for and like I existed during? Because mine is in 2022. I was a really big fan of Måneskin and I really wanted to see them, but I couldn't afford tickets to their show, or I don't think they were on tour. I couldn't really remember what it was, but they were performing at the Global Citizen Festival in New York. And if you don't know what Global Citizen is it's this really like big like movement and like thing towards like ending really massive social issues in the world. So extreme poverty, the climate crisis, period poverty, all stuff like that. And every year they have this festival in New York where they like showcase these issues, and they have a bunch of people like come and perform and talk, and like speakers and all this stuff. So I won my little tickets. I did all my little fundraising so I could get enough points to like enter to win tickets to this event. Won the tickets, whatever, blah, 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 going to New York that day. So there's a bunch of performers and like speakers and everything, as I said before, hosted by Priyanka Chopra. Really crazy event. And so I'm sitting there and blah, blah, blah. For starters, this is not the crazy part of the lore, but it was the night of that infamous Mariah Carey audio where she's like, y'all don't want to talk about 9/11. Yeah, that was that night at that event. So think about like that context now of what she said. Anyways, so we're going through the whole rest of the night. Måneskin performs. I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna start heading out. And then they're like, oh, we have one more performer of the night, and it was Metallica. And I was like, okay, like, you know, like I'll stick around to see like Metallica. And they were like, and we have a special surprise for you guys. And I was like, what kind of surprise could that be? Because already every single celebrity in the world and every single activist in the world is here tonight. So who could be more crazy than who we've already seen and who we already know we're going to see? And so they're like, give a big round of applause to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, who, by the way, was the active Speaker of the House of the United States Representative at the time. Like, this was during her most recent term. This was 2022. And so I'm, of course, like, Nancy Pelosi. So we're standing there, she comes on stage, and she's like, oh my god, this is such a great blah, 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 going on and on and on and on. And I'm like, oh my god, like, this is Nancy Pelosi. And so watching her speak, and she's giving this whole speech, you know, really great about how, like, oh, like, we should all care about this. I'm like, you know what, hell yeah, girl. You wanna know what Nancy Pelosi says? She's like, now give it a big round of applause, like, for one of my favorite bands, Metallica. Do you understand what it feels like to have the memory of Nancy Pelosi sitting there and being like, give it up for Metallica, love them? Like, don't get me wrong, Nancy Pelosi can like whatever music she wants, but to hear it out of her own mouth and to see it with your own eyes, Nancy Pelosi introducing Metallica, that is a real memory. That is a real thing that happened.